Amazing. All right. I already forgot what I was gonna do. Cool, cool. I'm Nick Panazzo, and this is episode 2 of Shit Show Kitchen. Today, we will be making risotto with Parmesan, freezer peas, and prosciutto. A lot of people hate on freezer peas, but they're actually pretty good. Just frozen. That's disgusting. Don't eat them frozen, that's gross actually. The first thing we gotta do is cut our shallot, gonna saute that in some oil. We're gonna get a nice aromatics working in there, get a good base for our risotto, and we'll add in the prosciutto, the parm, and the peas, the 3 P's of risotto. That was good, I just came up with that. That was pretty good. Cut these 2 up, start with our shallot. We'll just go lengthwise here. I just like to cut mine in kind of like these half discs here. I get good with my knife and just keep kind of going like this. Like missing it every time. I just like to roll this up very loosely. Just kind of cut it into these ribbons. Okay. And this is all the prep work that you have to do pretty much. Everything else is done on the stove. It's gonna be pretty easy. So let's go do that now. First things first, you're gonna wanna make sure that you have about 40 ounces of chicken stock nice and warm on the stove. You wanna bring that up to a low simmer. When you add in hot broth, instead of like room temperature broth or something like that, it helps to cook the risotto down a little bit quicker so that you're not getting super firm centers and then a really glossy, toothsome outside. We've got this simmering away. Once it comes up to a simmer, bring it down to low. We're going to add into a separate pan about 2 tablespoons of nice olive oil. And to that, we're going to add our shallot. And we're gonna cook this down until it's about tender, maybe about 3 to 5 minutes before adding in our garlic. Next, while you're waiting, you're gonna grate some parm. I'd say 3/4 of a cup to a cup. And you're just gonna start grating. And you're gonna continue grating until all of this is gone pretty much. I mean, listen to this though. This is like, it's like food ASMR right there. I'm just kidding, I don't know. I might cut that out, probably won't. My arms hurt. My back's been hurting for about the last week. I'm using a heat pad like a pregnant woman. No, I'm not pregnant. Do I look pregnant? I don't know, do pregnant women use heat pads? Hey Siri.
Good afternoon.
Text mom. I've never been pregnant, so I wouldn't know. I also don't plan on being pregnant anytime soon, so.
What do you want to say?
Can you Venmo me $50 for a Plan B pill? Oh, perfect, look, we're done. And now we have our shallots that are nicely sizzling in our olive oil, starting to soften up a little bit. So now we're going to add in about 2 to 3 cloves worth of chopped garlic. If people want to say that you're stupid for using canned garlic, then all right? Because there's a time and a place. If I'm gonna make like a nice bruschetta or something like that, sure, you use fresh garlic. But if it's something like this and I didn't grab it at the store by chance, I'm using the can. We're just gonna melt that into the shallots, kind of infuse the oil that's already in there. Now that the shallots are nice and soft, we're going to take our rice and make sure that you're using arborio rice. So you don't want to be using like a white rice or a brown rice. Make sure you're using arborio rice. Go out, spend the extra $1 or $2 on it. I promise it'll be worth it. About 1.5 cups. And you're gonna wanna coat all these kernels in the olive oil and kind of mix it in with the garlic and the shallots. You wanna make sure and you cook it and you stir it until all the kernels are opaque, because that's gonna mean that all the starch is starting to release and the kernels knocking into each other are gonna release more starch to make it thicker. It's like adding pasta water to your sauce when you finish it. It's the same concept. The starch is being released from the rice kernels, and then it's time to add in your chicken stock. Okay, all right, so a lot of people think that when you're making risotto, you have to constantly be stirring it, you have to constantly be giving it attention, and while part of that's true, you don't always have to continuously be stirring it. So a good rule of thumb is if you stir it right before and right after you add your broth, that's perfect. So I usually do it about a cup and a half of broth at a time, usually about 2 to 3 ladlesfuls, and then you stir again. And this is going to gradually soak into the risotto. It's going to gradually bring up that temperature. The kernels are starting to knock around into each other. They're releasing the starch. One thing you always want to make sure you're doing too when you're making a risotto is you want to constantly be tasting it, because when the rice is nice and al dente, that's when you want to take it off the heat. But if you overcook it, it can get really gummy. It can get gross. It's going to taste like pudding almost, and you don't want to be eating chicken pudding. That's kind of nasty, but it's hot, but it tastes good. So yeah, now that we have this really creamy texture here, and all of that chicken stock and all of those aromatics are being infused and absorbed into the rice, this is where we're going to add our butter. So we got 3 tablespoons of butter here. This is going to give it a nice silky texture. You're just going to put that in and stir it until it all kind of melts together gradually. While that butter melts in, it's just becoming extra creamy. It's getting that glossy kind of texture to it. And this is exactly what you want to see at this stage. This is when you're going to do your last ladlefuls of your chicken stock. So we'll bring that in. Now we're going to stir this all together, and then we're going to let this sit for 5 minutes before adding in our Parmesan, our peas, and our prosciutto. So now you're going to take your prosciutto, you're going to add that in, just kind of sprinkle it in all over the place. So once you incorporate your prosciutto in there, that's when you take your freezer peas, about 3/4 of a cup to a cup, depending on what you like, and you just pour that in. You don't need to heat these up in butter, you don't need to steam them beforehand. These are going to come to temperature in your risotto as it is. Well, this is why I say about 40 ounces instead of 32, like your traditional size of chicken stock, because this way, if you feel like it's getting drier, you can add more. If you feel like it's too wet, then you can reduce it longer. All in all, it's better to have more stock than it is to have less. It's not quite a soup, but it's not necessarily a rice dish either, I would say. It's like a rice porridge, or like a rice, I don't know, puke. It's like rice puke. This is exactly what this dish is. It's rice puke that you add peas and meat to. Once it's all incorporated, there's a little bit of that left. You're gonna take your cheese and you're going to put in about 3/4 of a cup to a cup, and you're gonna see this thicken right up. It's gonna become really glossy. And then, once this all gets stirred in, you're basically done. And the reason you add in your cheese at the very end is because you want to make sure that your broth is nice and absorbed, your peas have had a chance to heat up, your prosciutto's melted in nicely with the rice, and this is the final bit of your dish. It's a plate. We'll bring this over. You're going to take a couple spoonfuls, and then at the very end, because I like the broth, I take about a tablespoon of broth and just spoon it over. Just one last little bit to absorb right into all that. It kind of looks like shit though, eh? Like a little soup right there. Earlier I said it wasn't a soup, but now I'm saying it is a soup. Hannah, would you like to come try it? Here,
All I heard
we'll do
you
it.
say was it tastes like throw up. Or it looks like throw up.
It does. But look, This is my friend Hannah. Turn around. Let
Where's
everyone
the
see you.
camera?
This is my friend Hannah. She's my best friend in the whole world, and she's about to eat this risotto and tell me it's really good.
It's also steaming hot. I mean, it looks great, guys. It does not look like puke. I don't like anything in this. I've told Nick from the beginning I hate risotto, I hate peas. And
But she's gonna try it because she's my best friend.
he's proved me wrong. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
The sauce is
I'm a wizard. I'm
phenomenal.
the best. I'm the greatest human there is, and I've just made risotto
Try to
with
beat.
Parmesan, prosciutto, and peas. That's a wrap. This has been Shit Show Kitchen episode 2. Give me some of that because now I want some. Cheers.
Pretty good.